What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another video. Today I don't have any notes today. I just want to get on here and talk, kind of like videos that I used to do where I would just get on here and kind of ramble about my thoughts instead of having like a concise idea. And specifically today I want to talk about N5 grammar and the N5 grammar deck that I used. If you've watched any of my last two updates or how many ever was, you know that I've been using Game Gengo's N5 grammar deck, and this deck has been an absolute lifesaver for me. I've always, I know a majority of N5 grammar, but I wanted something to refresh and just to make sure that I wasn't missing any pieces or anything like that. This deck has every piece of N5 grammar that you need for an N5 test. Now, what's the relevance of that to me? I'm not going to be taking the JLPT or anything like that. However, it's a good ground point for getting started and getting into, the tests are designed for, beginner up through N1 being obviously advanced. So why would you not start with the maybe perhaps quote unquote easier stuff and then progress through? So it's just easier to find that stuff. So I looked for an N5 deck. I found Game Gengo, which I've been following Game Gengo for a while, and I found out they had a deck. So the reason that I like this deck is I've tried other N5 grammar decks and I always feel like they're not organized well. You may find one that doesn't have audio, and I'm a big guy when it comes to wanting audio for my Anki cards. Yes, I could hypothetically make a deck. I was actually making a deck using Boon Pro at one point when I would take just a piece of N5 grammar and I would take like 3 of their sample sentences, but nothing still really just clicked with it. Everything felt like a hassle. Everything was muddy. Everything was just kind of weird. And I was going through it, but it's just, I don't know. It just wasn't what I wanted. So enter Game Gengo's N5 grammar deck. And what I love about this deck is it's centered around video games. So for somebody like me, I don't play video games as much now. I play with my son from time to time. He loves playing like Luigi's Mansion and some Mario games, and then we'll play like Minecraft together and stuff like that. I don't play a lot myself today. However, from where the game is rooted, from where the deck is rooted in grammar around video games, that's something very nostalgic to me that I can connect with. So going through this deck made me incredibly nostalgic while learning because of how much I played video games. And of course, there's things on there from past that I have played, whether it be a Yakuza game or Final Fantasy or something like that. So there is a nostalgia and there's something there to click in my head that makes it kind of this happy endorphin release, and endorphin, dopamine. I'm not a scientist here, but it releases that, and so it's making that happy connection with learning grammar. Now, I did know virtually everything in this deck. There were, I think, 1 or 2 things that I kind of struggle with. Like I still randomly struggle with the Hogai grammar pattern, which is like it'd be better to, or something like that. So that but it helps to remember it, and it helps to see it regularly and go from there. So the deck is put together good. There's audio with it, and not only that, it's not just like a random person speaking. If the game had audio naturally, if it had a voice track, then it's the voice audio from the video game, which is incredibly helpful. And then if it's not, like there's some grammar points from like Donkey Kong, and just some older games like that where there's obviously not audio, like Donkey Kong for Super Nintendo, and so there's audio over that as well. So you get audio, but the cards have the grammar point highlighted within the deck, like within the sentence that you see, and then it breaks it down obviously on the back of the card for what the specific pattern is like. So it's just done really, really well. And I encourage everybody, if you're wanting to get into N5, there's an N5 deck and an N4 deck. I did start the N4 deck, but I was going through 20 cards a day just to burn through this deck. And now I realize that that's a whole lot of reviews, because I'm also doing Leva Kiwi's core 2K 6K deck, which I'm doing 15 cards a day of that. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to take maybe 3 or 4 days, 2 or 3 days of not doing the N4 deck, just to kind of get my reviews down, and then I'm just going to go 10 new cards a day on the N4 deck, pending difficulty. So I know that I know a little bit of N4 grammar, but it probably can get just a little bit muddy. So, but yeah, this deck, I highly recommend it to anybody, and the videos as well. The videos where he explains the grammar is really, really good. But this deck is what I've been looking for. I've used decks like you know, of course, they're all community driven, like Tychem's or Takem's Guide to Grammar, but just none of those sentences mean anything to me. Like, and there's no pictures, of course, and stuff like that. It's just words. And not that that's bad, because like when I eventually get to sentence mining, there's probably a time or two where I may be reading something and I'll not have a picture or anything. But I don't know, just sometimes when it's like, oh, he hung the cabinet on the wall, like, okay. But like with these video games, there's a core attachment. There's something, a lot of times from where I grew up playing video games, there's something that I remember and it triggers that in my brain. And it's been such a wonderful time. I've learned a couple of new words via the decks as well. At least I can recall, I can see them when I see them. I don't know if I can recall them, but it's been such a fantastic time. So this week I did my study. I don't have my stuff breakdown here. I don't want to do just a weekly breakdown of stuff. I'll probably make it every couple of weeks or a month, but I'll still just get on here and talk about updates. But this week I watched all of Alice in Borderland Season 2, which is fantastic. If you've not watched it, for the love of all that is holy, please go watch it. I love it. It's one of my favorite shows. I think it's super, super cool. It is just, it's so phenomenally written. I really, really love it. If you don't like it, sorry. I don't have an issue with that, but I would feel bad if I recommended a show and you hated it. But I love it. I think it's great. I think Alice in Borderland deserves all the credit that Squid Game gets. I don't know why it doesn't, but it's really, really good. I didn't watch any more Demon Slayer. But I am going to watch more of that, especially now that I'm through Alice in Borderland. And another thing that I've been doing that isn't necessarily Japanese related, but is eventually going to be, is I've been reading through Chainsaw Man in English just at night when I'm going to sleep. That way I can be familiar with the story, and then I'm going to read it in... I'm not going to get through the whole series before I start reading it in Japanese, but I really like Chainsaw Man. I like the concept of it, and so I was like, I'm going to check this out. And then once I started reading it, I was like, this is phenomenal. So I'm going to get through several issues of that, or chapters, whatever manga people call it. Don't hate me, because I don't read manga, so... but this really interested me. So once I get through a couple of volumes of that, I'm going to try to read a little bit in Japanese, just familiarizing myself with the story. And then, of course, I have Alice in Borderland manga in Japanese that I'm going to try to read now that I've gotten through the series on Netflix. So that's pretty much it. Been going through... most of my study comes from just that, Anki Decks and Tokini Andy's website, where he goes over some grammar points, and then mix that in with some immersion, doing the core 2K, 5K deck. I'm through 500 cards in that. There's like 300 some suspended because there's so much that I know, and then some of the cards that I have, it's cards that I am kind of good on, but maybe I could use just a little more repetition, a little more exposure to it. So everything's going good. We're going decent and hard at Japanese to make things right and to make things feel good, especially before I get to Japan and all that stuff. So that's it for this video. Go check out Game Gengo and the decks that they have made over there, and support that creator, of course. And yeah, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoyed the video, and until next time, and I will see you. I don't even know what my own outro is. I guess I don't have one. I'll see you in the next video.